What's going on today, everybody? So I have a chance. It's a rainy day. It's the weekend. I've got a couple days. I'm gonna go ahead and work on the motorcycle while it's down and I'm not gonna be able to ride it. One thing that I've wanted to do is do regular maintenance stuff, like get the chain fixed, not fixed, but get the slack taken out of the chain, lube my chain, go over a couple things, maybe bleed the brakes, a couple other little things. But another thing that I've wanted to do is take care of one thing on my bike that doesn't match. We'll go with that. Doesn't match the rest of the bike, and it kind of irritates me every time I walk up on it and look at it because it just sticks out like a sore thumb. So I'm gonna work on that today and take you guys along with me. So from this angle, you can definitely tell that something sticks out from everything else on the bike. Can you guess what it is? You only see it from this angle. It's this thing. Today we're going to be fixing that. As you can tell, there is something that definitely sticks out like a sore thumb and does not match anything else, and it drives me crazy. Now, down the road, I'm definitely going to get some different springs for the rear, probably, most likely, and rebuild the front forks one of these days. But for right now, I'm just going to go ahead and remove it, remove the spring, and just throw a quick can of paint on it. Now, whether I go orange or I go black, don't know quite yet. Probably going to go orange so it kind of sticks out. But I kind of think I might go black in case I ever change the color scheme on the bike. That being said, I keep saying I'm going to change the color scheme on my car, and I haven't. I love it, so maybe we'll stick with it. Maybe we'll enjoy that one. So, we'll go with orange. Yeah, we'll go with orange. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and walk you through, I guess, how I'm going to go about it and get this spring off here. So here we go. We got the bike actually kind of up. I started with the rear swing arm. We'll just put it underneath paddock stand. Then I went ahead and usually if you have a piece of wrought iron, you can stick a piece of wrought iron, and this bolt goes all the way through, and it's the pivot point for your rear swing arm. So you can put a piece there and put some jack stands on it that way. I have a piece of rod, but it's mild steel, and it just bent as soon as I went to go drop the bike. So I quickly aborted that one and moved on to something else. Now I've already gone ahead and removed one of the screws that sits all the way down here. There's a little screw hole right here, so I can move this plastic out. It goes on the plastic fender here, and I've put my two jack stands up underneath the main frame of the bike. Now this bottom dog bone is to the spring, and it's connected to the frame right here that's connected to this outer frame. So I shouldn't have anything flexing right there. And then I'll go ahead and remove the back and make sure that I've got enough room. Actually, I can take that out now. So I've got enough off of it. Now I've taken the bottle jack right next to him, and on the swing arm I've just put the bottle jack on the swing arm to raise the whole bike. Now you want to be extremely careful when you do the bottle jack underneath the swing arm, because it creates a centered. It's only on one point in the front on your front tire and one point in the rear on that bottle jack. So definitely hold the handlebars, go up a little bit. What I was doing is I put the jack stands under there as best I could, or got them up as high as I could, and then put the bottle jack under and slowly lifted it up while holding on the handlebars with my other hand, and then move them up one bottle jack like notch at a time. That helped me out to where I think I've got like 3 or 4 teeth showing. So now I'm definitely high enough where that wheel is not holding on to anything else. It's just hanging out there by the spring. So now we can go ahead. With that done, I'm going to take the bottle jack out, and I'm going to go ahead and remove the spring and get that out. Now, this bottle jack method works great because when I go to put the spring back in, it's on the swing arm, so all I have to do is lift it up so I can get the bolts for the actual shock back in easier, so I can kind of fine tune where I need to be just by raising or lowering the bottle jack. That will raise and lower the rear swing arm so I don't have to pull it up or monkey it around to try to get it in there. So we'll see. We'll go ahead, we'll get these, I think it's only 3, maybe 4 bolts taken out, and then we can pull that whole piece out. So here you can see the lower bolts. So this is the little wishbone, that's the dog bone that goes to the bottom. And then it goes up to the spring. And the front of the spring actually comes through this hole right here. So we'll go ahead and remove hopefully as little as we can. We know we at least have to get that one, the back of the shock, and this front one off to remove the whole thing. But I think we need to remove a little bit more, probably this piece, to make sure that we have enough room to get everything out, because it's a pretty tight little area to get stuff in and out of. We'll see. We'll go ahead. I've got these little caps on here, these orange caps that need to come off first thing, and then we will try to loosen them up. Now it's really hard to do, but with a 14 and a long extension on this side and then a 14 and an extension back over here, we're actually able to get it to come loose. Managed to actually get the bolt off this, or the nut off this rear bolt. So now maybe we can push it through and the swing arm will drop because the spring is no longer attaching the rear swing arm to the actual body of the bike. So hopefully, I might put the bottle jack underneath it to lift it up. Maybe we can wiggle it out. I don't know. I haven't tried to get it out, see if it's gonna actually come out pretty easy. It's not. So yeah, I'm gonna have to lift up on this rear swing arm to make sure that I've got no tension on that, because right now the swing arm's sitting down. It's got all this weight back here that's pulling down on that bolt and causing it not to actually come out. So we'll have to lift up on it to relieve that pressure so we can move that bolt out. Now we've got this swing arm a lot lower than it was. The wheel's actually almost touching the ground. And now I can go ahead and move the spring up and down. I don't have quite enough room to pull it up this way, but that's fine because we still have this front bolt to take off. But as I was lowering it, look at this angle on these brake lines. That's not very good because it's pulling pretty hard on these brakes right there. So good thing I had this ball jack. I was able to stop it, so it's only got a little bit of a hard angle on it and not too bad. So we'll go ahead and do the front real quick so we can jack this back up and take the tension off this brake line. Well, after trying for a while to get a wrench actually in here, I gave up on it. Now the tank, the gas tank, has a tab that comes down for some reason, and then it also has the drain or the feed from the gas tank to let the gas through, goes through the tube. It's right there in the way. So I bagged that, came around to the back, actually grabbed an open end wrench and was able to sneak it in on this side and unscrew it from this hole, and actually got the bolt out. Got the bolt sitting right there. Now I've gone ahead and I was having troubles trying to just kind of wiggle it out, see if I had enough room. It's all loose in here now. So to give me a little bit more room, I actually went ahead and removed this lower dog bone from here to give me a little bit more room of all this movement. So now with that dog bone loosened, I'm able to move the wishbone up here kind of wherever I need to. So now hopefully we can go ahead and somehow wiggle this out of here without doing too much more taking stuff apart. Well, that was an epic fail. I guess we'll go ahead and just remove this wishbone, dog bone setup, because it's definitely not coming out that way. Things have definitely escalated in a hurry. I was not able to mess around with it and actually get it out of the top behind the wheel. So lo and behold, rear wheel's off of it. We're just gonna go through the rear wheel, make it easy on ourselves. I have to take the rear wheel off anyways, or I have to adjust the chain anyways, so it's not a huge deal. Go through and I'll inspect all this stuff while it's out, might as well. Here we go, current state. I'm actually sitting on the wheel, and there we go, is what we're after, is right here, and hopefully now I can get this thing out of here. Now I gotta get it unstuck from where I got it stuck at. That might be a challenge in itself. I'm gonna need 2 hands. Holy cow, we did it. So, easiest way to do this is take it's got all these little raised nubs in here. Let's take your screwdriver, and the first thing we gotta do is we gotta loosen this one on this one, because right now they're forced together and they're locked together. So the easiest way is to actually not go at you like this and actually try to push it towards you. Try to push it into the ground, and it works a lot better, and you can actually get that ring start to move around. And once you get it loose enough, you can actually just do it by hand. Now I assume I gotta take this all the way down. So we'll just take it all the way down to where it stops. That's pretty close. Now we'll go ahead and do the spring. Same thing, I don't want to start up here. I'll start on one of these ones around the side. There we go, that'll work pretty good now that I've got most of the tension off of it. Well, I've got some good news and I've got some bad news. Good news is we were able to get that lock all the way down as far as we could. Bad news, there's still a whole bunch of tension on that spring. Definitely not going to plan. I thought it was going to be a lot easier, and it was. That spring still got so much tension or preload in it with the nuts all the way down that I can't even get the spring off. I've scratched them all to hell, so I'm to the point where I can't get it off, but they're so scratched up that I'm not gonna be able to live with them like that. So I think we're just gonna go ahead and tape off and paint the best that we can with it still on the actual shock. I've got it back set to where it needs to be. I gotta lock down the lock washers or lock rings real quick, and then I'm gonna go ahead and just start taping things off, and hopefully that's gonna be good enough. Definitely was trying my hardest to get that stupid spring off there, but it was not having it, unfortunately. Now, rock and hard place. It's gotta get done no matter what. So we'll start taping. Well, it's taken me a lot longer than I care to admit, but after last night's debacle of that mess, I finally got the whole thing taped off. It's gonna be mildly irritating to get sanded down, but we will go ahead and sand that down. I just need to scuff it up a little bit so that paint has something to adhere to, and then clean it up, and then paint it, and we'll get that going. There we go, got it all taped up. It is extremely irritating to get in between these, in between the shock body and the spring. One thing that I should have done was leave the locking collar unlocked so I could turn it, because I was able to follow the coil up with one strand, but getting it underneath was really, really hard because I've got this to go around and everything else. So I should have left this collar unlocked so I could then turn it, and then the spring would be on to where the tape was, and I could just coil it up a little easier. A little tip and trick for next time, maybe. Goodbye, red. Well, I got everything painted and managed to put it back in. The only tough spot was actually getting this top bolt in, but with the use of a magnet on a little stick, it was actually not bad. The other thing that sucked was kind of getting in there and trying to thread the bolt on, but if you got skinny enough hands, you can kind of tease it in there, but it makes a world of difference on what it looks like. I mean, it fits in with the rest of it. You can see the bolts. It doesn't stick out like a sore thumb. So now, I've got these all tightened down. They're all tight enough. We've got the wishbone and the dog bone part all back together. That's all on. All those bolts are in. The lock washers are tightened down. The last thing to do is put this rear tire back on. There we go. We got it back down. We got it back on the paddock stand. Now it's time to set tension on the chain.